I'm Zion.
And I'm Judah.
This is the Amateur Film Critic.
Here we are. Zion. Okay, so I feel like we should give context for how we got to watch this movie in a way.
Okay,
Okay, so
we watched. So all three of the Ghostbusters film before this, those were on Charter Spectrum, I believe, is how we
yeah,
watched
it
these.
was like it was basically sort of
Yeah,
like on-demand cable in a way. Only
yeah.
like we streamed it. It's a confusing process,
Uh-huh.
but yeah.
But I had seen the first one, but in part of the second one, but none of the others, and they have seen none of them, and so we watched them, and then because we watched them, they bought Ghostbusters Afterlife
Yeah, we bought it on
on
early
the
release
Blu-ray.
for Voodoo. We did not go to theaters to see this.
No, we
Um,
didn't.
and we watched it. So in one singular day, Zion, my sister, and I watched all four Ghostbusters films. And watched the first one, it was good. Watched the second one, it was not good. We watched the 2016 Ghostbusters, which was actually the only Ghostbusters film I had seen previous to this day, with where they were all women. Zion was not very happy
Right,
about it.
but you never said your opinions on that one.
I liked it. Okay, I know comedy's subjective,
Oh,
and comedy's
oh,
subjective. I
wow.
liked it.
Oh,
Zion did not. Yes,
oh.
there's some cringy parts
Okay.
about it,
Here are
and yes,
here are
Melissa
my
McCarthy
opinions
talks a
on
whole lot. But
here are my opinions on the previous three Ghostbusters film. The first one, probably one of my top 10 favorite films of all time.
it's
The
not one
first
of
one
mine.
is. I just really liked it. The second one. The second one, I believe, is the worst one in the franchise. Not the 2016 one, but Ghostbusters 2 is
Yes.
the worst one because almost nothing happens. It's not that exciting, in my opinion.
Sorry.
I almost left through that one. Hate all you want. It's just not a good movie.
Yeah, well, it's
The
not.
2016 one, even though that's also not a good film in my opinion, it's still not as boring as the second one is. My problem with the 2016 one is that they all try to be the Bill Murray character, but they all try to be the comedian of the group, and that one, in which I'm not a huge fan of that, because you don't. In the first one, they weren't all telling jokes the entire time. It was that they had different personalities than each other. And the 2006 one, they all tried to be the comedian of the group, which didn't work for me personally. But
I would say that they have different personalities than each other, because I think my thing is I don't look at like trying to be a comedian or anything, or making jokes as like complete personality. I think they do have different personalities, but you're definitely right about what you're saying. The problem is, literally everyone in this is an SNL alum, so they leaned way more into comedy than the original Ghostbusters did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're definitely right about what you're saying. They all tried to be the comedian. I wouldn't say they all have the same personalities, because again, I actually do like this film. I'm not saying it's a great film, but I'm saying it's a good film. But yeah, you're definitely right about what you're saying. That, and They kind of mesh. They put a little bit of Bill Murray in everybody, and that they constantly keep making jokes.
Yeah.
So
And so, but for this one, this is probably my second favorite one in the franchise.
okay, yeah,
And that's
I
not
actually I would.
saying, and that's not saying a whole too lot. I mean, that I'm not a huge fan of the past two films, but
So I would probably rank them the same way you do, Zion. But like, okay, I believe the second one was just bad. I like
yeah.
the third. I like the remake Ghostbusters. All right, I'm not saying it was a great film, but I think it was a good film in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as how I differentiate the newest one and the original, I'm gonna have to say something a little bit controversial. All right, I liked the first one. Okay, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good film. Probably even like, in terms of creativity and all that, it's a great film. But I kind of felt like it might be slightly overhyped. Oh, because in my opinion, it
Okay,
was
but what is
like,
so?
okay, my
Are you
controversial.
saying you liked
I
this one
liked it.
better than the first one?
No, I'm not saying I like
What
this
are you
newer one
saying?
better.
Okay.
I have problems putting remakes or like putting reboots. I guess I have problems putting a reboot
Yeah.
over the original because the original has the benefit of it was like
Yeah.
it was
It was
creative, it was
original. Yeah.
original, yeah. So I'm saying that the original one is at the top of my Ghostbusters ranking list, right?
Okay.
But in terms of like just movies in general, it's
You're,
not
you're
one that
saying
sticks
you
out
thought it was
super much for
alright?
me. Yeah, I thought it was all
Okay.
right. I thought, and then as
Well,
far as this one goes, I did like this one a lot, and we're going to talk more about this one right now because that's what we're rating today
yeah.
is Ghostbusters Afterlife. So I'm going to get right into our plot summary. Zion, how's that sound?
Okay.
All right. When a single mom and her two kids arrive in a small town, they begin to discover their connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather left behind. Spoiler alert, their grandfather is Egon, that's his name, right?
Egon. Yeah.
Yes,
Egon.
Egon. Um so that that's like sort of the plot. Like the story goes as we go through the plot, right? They come to this small town. Their Egon, their father or their grandfather, I guess, the kid's grandfather, um, like died, and that's how they inherited like this weird land in the small town. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they slowly find stuff like relating to him and like how he was a Ghostbuster. And the reason he apparently came to this small town was because the same bad guy from the first one was going to come back through here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good way. Like basically, you can just think of that as the plot. Like that's the best way to think of it. Uh, like is that
Yes.
think of the original one and the stuff they had to do to get that bad guy here. It's just all happening in a small town now. So, Zion, as far as the plot and where the story goes, how do you feel about it, though?
Let me look at the topics real fast because I don't want to say anything that we're just going to repeat in a later topic. But
Mm-hmm.
let me.
Like, yeah, I'm asking how you feel about
Yeah,
the
I don't want
story.
to. Yeah, I thought it was okay. Okay, yeah, I thought the story was okay. I thought towards the end they could have done a little bit more towards
Mm-hmm.
the end because the thing with this ghost in general is okay. So I have two big problems with the film.
Yeah.
Like I just have two complaints about the film. The first complaint being that I didn't like that they just brought the exact same ghost back. I thought they could have, like, maybe created a a new, bigger and badder threat to be the ghost
Yes.
of
Yeah,
the
and I
film.
agree.
You
I agree
know,
100% with that. I was really
yeah,
hoping like that we
I
wouldn't. As it started to hint toward it being the same guy, I was kind of sad because like, oh, we're not getting a
yeah,
new, different threat. That would have been
I
nice, but
was very disappointed. And also they basically with the dog ghost, they basically do the exact same thing as in the first one, to where the dog ghosts go and try to take over uh the bodies of our main characters to become the key master and the
yeah,
gatekeeper, you know.
yeah,
And I I wasn't a huge fan of them just repeating the same thing, you know, which that's
yeah.
kind of a lot of this movie is them. No, wait, no. Uh, a lot of the movie toward the
Towards
end
the
is
end,
kind of
for sure.
repeating the same thing. Uh, and I was also let down because the main thing about the Ghosts or Ghosts is that the Ghosts or Ghosts takes the eventually takes the
Form. Yeah,
form of of something that will destroy everything, and they don't do that. Which
which
so
doesn't make
I was
sense.
watching
Like,
a it doesn't even make sense, and so I was watching a review of this film, and they pointed out a great character to which I think, you know, would have made perfect sense,
yeah,
judging by them repeating plot threads from the first one, because in the first one, Ayuk, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is 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 not just a surprise random character, cause throughout the film, hey, see the character
yeah. You see logos and
on
things, and
bags of marshmallows and on logos, and so it's not too uh, for Dan Aykroyd's character to think of that, since he's probably seen that
mm-hmm.
on several
Yeah, there's been that
things. And
subliminal
so
imaging and all that. Yeah,
yeah, so you know how Paul Rudd shows the kids VHS tapes in the
yeah.
classroom. So one of the kids that
Oh,
they show is is the uh, is the is the
the
doll. Uh, I think is his name. I
yeah,
believe.
yeah,
I
Chucky. Yeah,
Man, they said that that's what they could have changed into at the very just have a giant uh the doll just drawing the
yeah.
town, and
And
I
like, tell
thought
me,
that is a
like,
great idea.
like
Yeah,
podcast. The character, there's a character named
yeah,
Podcast. By the way, tell me that's
yes,
not what he would
there's a
totally like. He'd
podcast.
totally be the one to think of. It would have been a good homage, and it would have been an interesting
Yeah,
thing. Like,
it
so
would have
you're
been really
totally,
great.
yeah, that
That
would
was
have been a
very
good one.
that would have been
They could
a
also do the
great one.
dog from the first movie they show, I forgot what it's called, the first
They could
movie.
have done
But that would have been
they
really
could
close
have
to
done
the
the
other
dog,
ghosts, too, was the
but
problem.
I
Chucky
mean,
would
they
have been
could have
better.
done the dog, but the thing about the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and the joke behind the character is that the design of the character is a
Is cute.
cute design, and the design of the doll is also a cute design, and so
Yeah.
I think it would have
Does
worked
not
better
stay cute, though, but
with
yes,
the
it's a
doll.
cute design.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so that's a great point. And I totally agree with you. I think the
yeah.
biggest takeaway from the plot and the story is this, is that when they reuse the same monster and the same plot points from the original one, it gets kind of predictable. Not to say there
Yeah,
weren't newer
but
parts to this movie that
yeah,
were interesting and all that. It just gets predictable and slightly
it's just
boring.
predictable, and I was very let down that the ghost never changed into anything. And
Yeah.
so, but what I did like, what ghost I did like in the film was when they took uh the designs of old characters from the first one. Man, they tweaked the character into
Yes.
something new. Like there's this blue ghost played by Josh
Played by
Gad,
Josh Gad for no
really,
reason at all. He has no words. It's just Josh Gad making the sounds.
just
And his name
yeah.
is Muncher.
So and so the and so he eats things like us Weimer does in the first one. So he mainly eats like adult objects, and so he'll eat those
Yeah.
things, but then he'll also a bit the then he'll spit the pedal back Matt basically as the
Yeah.
whole character as he
And
takes
he's
the
got
things.
this really good caterpillar design.
Yeah,
And then I don't know how
and
you felt about the mini
basically,
puffs.
so basically that was their like Limer
Yeah.
basically, but they changed the ghost. But the mini puffs, I also liked those. I know
Yeah.
a lot of people might not like them,
I
but
can see
I
how people
thought
cannot like
it
him, but I
was a
think they're
cool. I
I
thought
think
they worked because they're changing this giant character, this giant singular character from the first one, into these into like smaller multiple characters for
yeah. And I liked how they were the actual
yeah.
marshmallows. It uh
Yeah, I thought those were awesome.
like
Yeah,
and they had like this great incredible the Walmart scene in particular
it's a
was
good
really
scene.
great.
It's a good
Um
scene. I like the Walmart scene.
and they
Like,
were very and it was just awesome to
yeah.
watch. So yeah, so that lets us talk
So
about ghosts.
basically the any state pubs are the uh, gremlins, kind of. Compare them to the
Yes.
gremlins.
Yeah, they're the
But
gremlins. So with that said, Zion, let's talk. I'm not sure who this is, but on the script you have Harold Ramis. Who is that?
so Harold, that is the second thing I don't like about this film is that
Oh.
Harold Ramis was Egon in the first two
Oh.
movies, and
Okay.
so I was okay with them in the ending of the film, showing him but not actually showing the face
His
of the character, because I thought
yeah.
that worked really well. But then they decide to like bring him back as this CGI ghost type thing at the end of the movie, in which I didn't like that as much. I was not a fan of that. I
Here's where I
thought
think you're.
it was a little bit disrespectful because he because he I don't know. I just thought it was disrespectful to the actual person because he actually wrote a Ghostbusters, like kind of a third Ghostbusters scene that they turned into a
Mhm.
video came, and I think they used the character of the person who changes. No, it's the person in this film. It's the person played by J. Jonah Amos. It's the dude in the cough.
Yeah, the dude in the
And
coffin. Yeah,
basically, so in the Ghostbusters video game, they do something different with character that's completely different to what they do with the character in this film, and so
I
taking those things, man. Yeah, I just I don't know.
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
like that they tried to bring him back.
I mean, I
Yeah,
can
your
understand not liking the
issues.
CGI. Like, I mean, obviously, we still have not got the CGI down enough to bring back people from the dead or make
Yeah,
them look younger.
yeah,
Cough,
we
cough,
can.
Star
Yeah.
Wars, we're looking at you. But but like, as far as the whole ending goes, where
Bring
he
up your
shows up and he's holding the
issues,
blaster
guys.
with her. He's holding the proton pack. I shouldn't call it a blaster. That's gonna get me like in big trouble with the Ghostbusters fandom. And he's holding the proton pack with the little girl. I thought that was a really nice and touching moment. And while the
I mean,
CGI
I
goes,
thought that. I think if they did that in a different way without showing the actual face of the character, if they just showed the hands of the character, I thought that would have worked probably
you don't like them showing the
better for them.
face is your problem.
No,
It
no,
ruins
I
the. I
thought
think
that
it ruins the
ruined
immersion
the
for you is what
aesthetic.
you're trying to
Yeah,
say,
ruined
right? Yeah.
it ruined
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Because like I can
I wasn't a
see
fan of it. Yeah,
now that I can understand. I don't see it
yeah.
being disrespectful to him because honestly, if they were to write this, he's still alive and they went the exact same plot, I think he would have shown up and he would have played a ghost. Like they would have done whatever like special effects you can do to make him look transparent. And I think he would have played it and you actually probably would have actually got dialogue this time, which would have been nicer, but
Yeah,
obviously
dialogue would have been
yeah, but
nicer.
obviously we can't do dialogue
Uh,
because
but bring out your
bring out your tissues, y'all.
tissues, guys. Bring out your tissues,
It's for
cause
Ghostbusters.
it, cause Josh Gad told us to. Bring out
Yeah,
your tissues.
I gotta say, Zion, the ending, I kind of needed my tissues slightly. I mean, I'm not saying
Bring out your
I did not cry. I did not get as teary eyed as I did with like It's a Wonderful
but
Life and
like it's supposed to be a
Coco.
comedy film, you know.
Yeah, but like
But
it's a touching homage ending is what they want to,
yeah,
and the whole reconciliation between Egon's daughter and Egon is really nice in my opinion. I just like that
mhm.
whole thing and the story, like with the family, it's nice. So, with all that, we've already talked on about the ghost, but we haven't talked about is the tie-ins, Zion. So, what tie-ins would you say? What would you say is like some of your favorite tie-ins to the original Ghostbusters from this film? Because there are a lot.
Ooh. I've already talked about how I liked how they took. I liked when they took the old ghosts from the first one and changed them
Mm-hmm.
and to this newer type of ghost
Yeah.
design. I liked when they did that. You know,
I would say
that
probably
was
one of
nice.
my like more favorite tie-ins for a story perspective in a way was the car, because I
Okay,
think
yeah, the car's
okay, and
cool.
this actually is going to help tie us into segue us into our next theme, which is characters. Because if they didn't do the whole storyline about the kid fixing up the car, that kid would have been useless in this film. But you know what I
Pretty
mean?
much, yeah,
Like he did nothing. Like
yeah, pretty much.
he did not do much in this film at all. Uh, so I'm glad they put in that car thing and they like used him as the homage to like fixing up the car and doing that. I I liked that part. I thought it helped the story. Like thought it helped elevate the story even more. And also the mini puffs. I thought they were a great addition. So along the same lines of
Mhm.
what you said about the ghosts. So
Yeah.
with that said, Zion, characters. I want like what are you thinking about the
Okay.
characters? Which ones stand out? Which ones fall flat?
So the only character I say I really didn't like was the mom's character.
Oh, okay.
You know, I because her character is that she's supposed to be this person who has
A lot of
or who's
issues.
supposed to be a lot of issues, but she seems to take those issues out onto her children, which
Yeah,
I
and that's
didn't think worked that well.
yeah.
Yeah, you know,
That's a rough part.
that's a weird pop. Yeah,
I
that's weird for them to.
I
Yeah.
would say though that they still I think they did frame her well enough as a mom. Yeah, every once in a while she takes out her problems on the children. Um
Mhm.
and she has some major flaws, but I feel like with her dad leaving and obviously the divorce issue that she's had to go through, like they make it seem I think they give her the backstory for some of these issues that they give her. And I'm actually kind of surprised you said that because she's the most Bill Murray in this film. You know that, right? Which is
Who
weird
the
considering
mom
she's
is?
Egon's daughter, but she's like the most like
Wait,
sarcastic character in
wait,
this
the
entire
mom
film.
is
Yeah, well, okay, other than Bill Murray
not
himself.
Paul Rudd.
No, Paul Rudd's
I
too
mean,
like nerdy. Paul Rudd
Rudd,
is Paul Rudd's way more like
I didn't think it was good.
Ray, in my opinion. But maybe
Like
wait,
Ray
Paul Rudd
from,
does not care enough. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. You got me
but
here.
I don't care. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't think they. In this film, they're not trying to bring back the characters of the.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
didn't think they were too heavily trying to reinvent or or take new versions of the character from the first one. You know,
Yeah.
because. But if we're talking about which characters who, then uh, the Stranger Things kid, his girlfriend is totally the uh Winston
Yeah.
of the group.
Like sort
Who,
of yeah.
who
Only
who is
she got more
there but
screen time
not
than Winston is the
always.
funny part. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like
probably,
Winston in
yeah.
the original Ghostbusters was really just thrown in there. She like
But
she got
I
some more screen
mean, he
time and she's like the view into the town, which is nice. Like she has the knowledge of the town other than podcasts. Who I love podcasts,
yeah,
Zion.
podcast is a great character.
Yes. Um
Podcast is, if we're talking about whose characters who, podcast probably the Dan Aykroyd of the group, probably.
yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Podcast is
And then
definitely
the
the Dan
daughter
Aykroyd of
is
the group. And
Winston,
the daughters
which means the Stranger Things kids. That's totally not the Bill
it,
Murray though.
it can't be Bill Murray. So yeah,
Can't be
like
Bill
it's a
Murray.
good. I think that's a good thing that they didn't try to just reinvent like each of the characters,
Yeah,
like kind of like 2016 Ghostbusters did.
yeah.
Um, so and that was a very good touch to this film. As far as all the
Uh,
characters go, I think they did a pretty good job with all of them. I think they
yeah.
covered like the area that they needed for the plot very well.
Right.
and they gave like each character enough depth. Obviously, some having more. And I really liked the main character, the little girl. I thought she was a really good character too. I like that I'm glad they did the focus on her because she was one of the more interesting characters, really.
Right.
So, with that said about the character design, who's your favorite character?
Are we counting?
Here, we'll make a favorite human character and
One,
favorite
no.
ghost. How about that? Does that help? Split it into two
Okay.
categories.
No, I was gonna say Eva Doll, but I don't think that actually counts.
I don't think that counts either as a character.
Okay. So best human character, probably Paul Rudd. Probably Paul Rudd.
Uh-huh.
Best non-human character, probably these hey pups at the Walmart, you know.
Yeah, I would agree. My
Too.
the best ghost was definitely the mini puffs. And then favorite human character though, it's a toss up between Paul Rudd and Podcast for sure. I would totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I would about Paul Rudd's character being really. I think I might go Podcast though. Honestly, I really liked Podcast. So now favorite scene. I'm just gonna say it. The Walmart scene was my favorite scene for sure.
Yes, I liked the Walmart scene. That's probably my favorite scene. But we never talked about this film has some some extra credit scenes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Remember the extra credit scene? Okay, so first one, it's basically Bill Murray and I forgot her name. What's the actor's name?
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, and Sigourney Weaver. They're basically doing what Bill Murray did in the beginning of the first one. Yeah. Not too much to say about that, but
it was a good scene. It was a really good scene. It was nice to see Sigourney Weaver, but yeah, it was a great.
But not too much to say. And then the next scene, it's almost like they're trying to set up for another one, almost.
Yeah, maybe hint at a sequel. I don't know. Because Winston, who's rich now, Winston's rich now, by the way, which is a nice character development for him. But I guess Winston's rich now, and he's talking to Annie Potts. That's the actress's name. I forgot what the receptionist from the original one. He's talking to her, and we find out that he bought the
Ghostbusters firehouse back from Starbucks, but it seems like nothing has changed in the firehouse though. So that's probably many years.
How was it a Starbucks? Like what the heck? I guess the character could have been wrong about it being Starbucks. Like I think they said I think it's a Starbucks now, but they could have been wrong. But yeah, so
it could have been wrong.
So they're hinting at a sequel, and they're very well might be one. I think this made good box office money.
Yeah.
So,
but it probably won't be until a while, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
An immediate sequel. It's gonna be a while. Yeah, but hopefully, in the sequel, they won't do the same plot as in Ghostbusters. Because I would be really
my emotion juice. I want New York to be angry.
That was stupid.
Just remember,
that whole plot was just dumb.
Zion.
That was a boring plot. That is the worst one.
Friendship always saves the day.
That was
okay.
Okay, so ranking of this film.
How would you rate it, Zion? What are you thinking?
Maybe a 4 or a 4.5.
I was up there too.
It is not a 5. It's not a 5 because there's too many things I felt were on with the film, and so I'm not going to give it a 5. But definitely a 4 or a 4.5. Almost there, but not. Probably a 4. Probably a 4.
Okay, so if you're a 4, I think I'm actually going to give it a 4.5. So okay. yeah. I'm gonna say it's a 4.5. I mean, it was a really good movie. If you've seen,
It was a good
all you need
movie.
to see is the original Ghostbusters. If you've seen the original Ghostbusters and you liked that, I think you'll like this one for sure. Honestly,
Yeah,
so it was definitely entertaining. We wholeheartedly recommend it. I would say, wouldn't you agree, Zion?
yeah, I would recommend it, but yeah.
So with
Definitely not as good as the first one, but it's definitely one of the best Ghostbusters films. But
Yeah, I would agree. It's
yeah,
definitely one of the best Ghostbusters film. And if they are to make a sequel and they bring
mhm.
back the same like they bring back the same writers or whatever they
Yeah.
do, I mean, I think it would be a
Hopefully
good
they
movie.
don't just rehash Ghostbusters
And
2
just do
because we
not
don't want
rehash
that.
Ghostbusters 2.
We
I
we
cannot
don't
imagine.
want a baby, and we don't want emotion juice. We don't want a ghost train. We don't want them.
We do want
We don't
Sigourney
want a
Weaver
five
though.
years later. We don't want a
Give us
5 years later. We don't.
please give us
We
Sigourney
don't
Weaver.
want a
We do want more.
He-Man. We don't want to.
I want more Sigourney Weaver. I don't know what Zion wants, but I want
We
more
don't
Sigourney
want
Weaver
that.
than
We
what we
don't
got.
want them on trial. We don't want them on trial. We don't want a
You're just
baby.
like,
We just want an original film. Thank
okay,
you,
yeah, we
whoever
want
made
an
this.
original
You're
film.
probably not watching, but
And we want Chucky, dang it. No, I'm joking.
we want Chucky. We want a giant Chucky.
Yes. So remember to like and subscribe, y'all. And thank you for
Never like
watching.
it to subscribe.
Zion, what do you got to say to the people?
Goodbye, y'all. We want
Peace.
giant Chucky and Ghost.
Giant Chucky's so bad.